So, have you guys heard of this guy? Yeah, me neither. That is until I was perusing a really great video by fellow Anthony Gramuglia. Side note, I highly recommend this video and this content creator because if you love what I do in the Exposing the Grift series, you'll love Anthony's channel, and you guys know I almost never recommend other content creators, so this is a real recommendation. Anyway, Anthony's video briefly mentions me towards the end, and it's basically a rebuke of the silly, "I know you are, but what am I" comments by fans of grifters that flood my, Eric Debunks, and Anthony's channel. You know, people that try calling us the grifters in defense of actual grifters, something that clearly doesn't make any sense and has no basis in reality, because we aren't rage-baiting charlatans whipping up culture warriors into a frenzy by lying about the latest piece of media. I mean, look at an AG thumbnail. Look at a Birdman thumbnail, and then look at a Nerdrotic thumbnail. It's very clear which of these three is the grifter. But alas, people without an actual argument still want to say something. So that brings us to the subject of today's video, one of the most hilarious losers in the history of this platform. And you might think that I'm being hyperbolic with that title, but just wait until you see the shit this guy says. It's unbelievably funny. And I did say I wasn't going to make a video on this psycho because that's exactly what he wants. Exposure. But this has gotten to the point where I think people need to be made aware of this guy's antics. So, as I was saying, Anthony's video mentioned me and tagged me, so I didn't actually know what was going on until I clicked on his video and watched the entire thing. Then I went into the comment section and saw various people talking about me, which I thought was strange because here was an hour-long video with salient points that the comment section should be talking about, but for whatever reason, some of these people have an axe to grind with me. And that's when I happened upon this comment. Those of you who follow me on Twitter saw me make a post about this. In short, this little dork essentially lied on me, attributing positions to me that none of you have ever heard me espouse, specifically that I use Rotten Tomatoes and box office proceeds as an argument for the quality of a film. I know some of you are scratching your heads right now, and believe me, so was I, because you know I've never done that, and in fact have argued against both those positions publicly. Strangely, this person apparently has seen me say things like this and thinks I meant the opposite. As I mentioned on Twitter, 2 years ago, I made an entire Twitter thread about this very topic where I publicly, in black and white, argue the opposite of the position Dorkosaurus Rex has attributed to me. I do not mince words. I explicitly state that the box office isn't an inherent measure of the quality of a film. In my Exposing the Grift series, I will show the box office or a Rotten Tomatoes score or even a Metacritic score to show if a grifter doesn't know what they're talking about or to simply expose their hypocrisy, like how the Critical Drinker used the audience score for The Boys, but will disregard that very same metric when it favors a film he's trying to shit on. I'll use these metrics to show objectively the performance of a film and or the audience temperature. So, as we all can see, this was a baseless lie. And because I really dislike when people lie on me and attribute positions to me that I obviously do not hold, I responded to the comment on Anthony's channel. Dorkosaurus proceeds to crash out, and I troll him by not reading his obvious bullshit reply and more or less tell him he can go fuck himself. But why would a random Godzilla power scaler randomly lie on the Birdman, you might ask? That's a question I asked myself. I didn't know who the fuck this guy was, and we have basically zero content overlap, so I thought maybe he was salty about something I said in one of my various Godzilla videos. It's well known that I'm Team Kong, but that's playful team sports. I'm very obviously a big Godzilla fan, so I couldn't understand why this person had a beef with me specifically. It's entirely possible I shit on him in one of my comment sections and totally forgot he existed, as I am wont to do. This has gained me many detractors, like the flat earther that wears a microfiber towel on his head, and honestly, I couldn't give less than a fuck. If you hate me for telling the truth, that's a you problem. But as I have hundreds of thousands of comments across my channel, I couldn't be bothered to actually search for a possible interaction I might have had with a deranged commenter. So I was still lost as to what this guy's problem was. That is, until I reached the parts of his comment where he's arguing in favor of the grifter, the Critical Drinker, specifically where he claims that Will is not a racist, something I have already proven using Will's own words. And that's when it clicked. He's upset that I call out bigotry, very likely because he's also a bigot. Confirmation of that thought didn't take very long, as when I posted my tweet, very quickly, people that knew this guy immediately began to confirm my suspicion. And that's when I made my community post, something many of you saw here on YouTube, where it was shared with me that this is how this person talks on Discord. You can see why someone that speaks this way would have a problem with someone calling out bigotry. Then multitudes of people on that community post reached out to me to show me that this behavior was typical for this person. I then perform a bit of research on this guy, and lo and behold, he's infamous in the Godzilla community for being a piece of shit. I really want you all to pay attention to the dates on these posts. These are from almost a year ago, so this is showing that this is a clear pattern of behavior for this guy. And that's just this one subreddit. He's currently being clowned in the Death Battle subreddit for being upset that the Hulk beat Godzilla in a fictional fight created by YouTubers. Predictably, this volatile little shit began making his own community posts about me, and here is where we get to the hilarity of this person's posting style. I don't know what anime this nigga has blown in from, but the way he talks is hilarious. He calls people worms, unironically refers to magic and spells, and tells people they're beneath him, while at the same time crying about jokes I made about his channel. Mind you, the jokes I made about his channel were due to him shit-talking mine, claiming my views started to go down, something he conveniently forgot to mention in his community post where he's framing me as the bad guy. Here is the entire comment I left him, where I systematically debunk every single one of his talking points. I highly recommend you pause and read this entire thing so that you have the full context. As you all well know, I don't do or say things for no reason. The main quip I made that hurt his fee-fees was the one where I am refuting the idea that my views have gone down. I tell him that I released a CinemaSins video recently that has more views than his channel's best performing video. Because he so often puts other people down because they don't have channels and are thus beneath him, me telling him an average video for me performs better than anything he has ever done turned him into this woman.
Please, in that French. You shouldn't have been talking shit.
As you can see, he can dish it, but he can't take it. And out of the 1,096 words I wrote to him, this was his takeaway and what he's trying to share with people. Way to show you're not jealous there, friend. Oh, but it gets even better. He and his sycophants, especially this guy who rides this weirdo's dick so hard he might just be his alt account, have launched into defense mode where they claim the images I posted in my community post are fake. I want you to pay attention to what Dingleberryopteryx is saying here. He's claiming these images are photoshopped while simultaneously admitting he did use those slurs, but only because the other guy was a child diddler. You can't make this shit up. Even better are the people that have clearly interacted with this guy and been in the same discords as him, saying quite clearly that they have seen him say these things. These people are not subscribed to me and don't even comment on my channel, so what are the odds that everyone here is lying but him? The innocent little Godzilla power scaler that even 9 months ago people were saying was a racist is being picked on by big bad everyone. That sounds plausible. I think these two community posts are just funny. I mean, he says I tried to lump him in with Drinker and Friends, and I'm struggling to find where I did that here. I haven't labeled this guy a grifter, as I have never and would never watch anything this loser produces. If he means calling him a bigot, well, that's because he does bigot things and gets angry when people call out bigotry. The shoe doesn't just fit, it's custom made. And once again with the weird ego criticism, which is expressly weird given that this guy is crashing out because I joked about his channel in response to him shit-talking mine. The guy that calls people worms who are beneath him. The cosplay this lunatic is performing is comical. And lastly, I want to show you a final couple of screenshots where things have taken a more serious turn and is precisely why I decided to get out of bed and make this video. The first is this. An almost equally psychotic person makes this comment under yet another community post by this guy, this time about the murder of Charlie Kirk. I broadly agree with what Cringe Ceratops is saying here, and that is a rebuke of political violence. Somehow, This unhinged motherfucker says I'm going to twist this as Dick Cheesadon is saying to unalive black folks, and it somehow got 20 likes. But that's not the important bit. What I care about is this guy once again mischaracterizing something I've said and lying about my words. For clarity's sake, this is the tweet they're referring to, where very clearly I'm debunking the oft-repeated fantasy that right-wingers like to espouse, how the good guy with a gun will stop the bad guy with a gun, therefore we need guns. My point was that we currently have law-abiding citizens with guns in the United States, and yet they were unable to stop Kirk's murder. I go on to make the point that even people who are actually trained to use these weapons, aka the police, are often unable to prevent crime, meaning that the good guy with a gun fantasy is just that, a fantasy, because even those who are trained for this kind of thing don't actually prevent the majority of crime. This is a simple statistical fact that even the layman should be able to understand. I mean, how many times have you filed a police report after the crime and literally nothing came of that police report? Even this guy can understand the point I was making there, and yet this dumbass says I attributed Kirk's death to police incompetence. This man's IQ is unfavorably comparable to Ariana Grande's weight. The other thing I wanted to talk about was this, where it's clear this loser is gearing up to try to make a video on me. And since I know you're watching, little guy, I'm going to speak directly to you now and tell you that no one cares. You're wasting your time, and you should probably stop because you're only going to hurt yourself. Much bigger and better channels than yours have tried me, and exactly 0 have succeeded. Like everything else I've shown, you're just going to lie and or misrepresent the things I say. And I just taught the thousands of people watching this exactly how to debunk you. I mean, you're essentially admitting you're using AI for this video, which is just... Given your penchant for misinformation, bigotry, and your ridiculous behavior, I'd say you should shut this down before you lose your channel. Not that that would be a loss to anyone or anything, but still. What I'm saying is, you have bitten off more than you can chew, little buddy. You do not want me actually focusing on you and digging through your history. I have people that are in the same chats you are in, so this is not the droid you're looking for. You are not equipped to deal with someone like me, so stay in your lane.